What you are about to witness is something wildlife cameras have captured only once in recorded history. Something so impossible, so breathtaking, that even the scientists who reviewed the footage sat in stunned silence. A deer raising cheetahs. And years later, what those cheetahs did in return will shatter everything you thought you knew about the wild. The savanna of East Africa stretches endlessly under a copper sky, where the dry season cracks the earth like old porcelain and the golden grass bends low in the late afternoon wind. This is a place that does not forgive weakness. Predators move in the shadows of acacia trees, and every creature here understands one law above all others: survive. The food chain is not a suggestion out here, it is gospel. Which is why what happened near the Mara River Basin in the summer of 2019 defied every single rule nature had ever written. Her name, given by the field researchers who monitored this region for 2 decades, was Dileia, a slender impala doe with rust-brown coat and dark, watchful eyes that had seen 5 dry seasons come and go. Dileia was alone. She had lost her fawn 3 weeks earlier to a flash flood that swallowed the lower riverbank without warning. Her body still carried the grief of it. She moved slower than usual, lingered near water longer than was safe, and grazed with her head down when it should have been up. On a Tuesday morning, a research team's remote camera triggered near a dried creek bed approximately 4 kilometers from the main camp. What it recorded would take 3 days to reach the lead biologist, Dr. Nia Osei, and when it did, she watched it 4 times before she called anyone else into the room. Dileia had found them. 4 cheetah cubs, no older than 3 weeks, tucked beneath the roots of a toppled fig tree. Their mother was gone. Later, a tracking collar recovered 2 kilometers east would tell the full story. She had been taken by lions during the night. The cubs were silent, pressed together, their spotted coats barely visible in the shadow. They should have been dead by morning. But Dileia did not run. She stood at the edge of that hollow log for 11 full minutes. The camera caught every second. Her ears turned forward, her nostrils worked the air, her legs trembled with instinct screaming at her to flee, because every fiber of her biology knew what these animals were, what they would become. She knew the scent of a cheetah. She had outrun one 2 seasons ago. And yet, she stepped closer. One of the cubs made a sound, a tiny, broken chirp, a sound cheetahs make that is nothing like a roar, nothing like a growl. It sounds impossibly like a bird, like something fragile and lost. And Dileia lowered her head. She did not leave. By the following morning, the research team, moving carefully on foot so as not to disturb the scene, found Dileia curled at the base of that fig tree, 4 cheetah cubs pressed against her belly, nursing warmth from her body, if not milk. She lifted her head when the researchers appeared, regarded them with those still, dark eyes, and did not move. Dr. Osei made a decision that divided her team. They would observe, they would not interfere. What followed over the next 18 months is the kind of story that makes you believe the wild has a language we have not yet learned to translate. Dileia moved through the savanna with 4 cheetah cubs at her heels. She adapted her grazing routes to stay near cover. She stomped and snorted to warn them when predators approached. She stood between them and 2 separate jackal encounters, lowering her head and charging with a ferocity nobody on the research team had ever witnessed in an impala doe. The cubs grew, and as they grew, the strangeness of their bond deepened. They did not hunt her. They did not stalk her. When researchers reviewed thousands of hours of footage, they found the cubs redirecting their hunting instincts entirely, practicing on insects, on fallen branches, on each other, never once fixing that amber predator gaze on Dileia. As if something in their earliest memory had drawn a line around her, as if she was coded into them as family. The day the oldest cub, a male the team called River, made his first successful hunt, a young gazelle caught at the edge of the long grass, Dileia stood 70 meters away and watched. She did not flee. She lifted her head, ears forward, and River, after eating, walked back toward her and lay down in the grass beside her flank. The team wept. Nobody wrote that in the official report, but they wept. Then came the dry season of 2021, a severe one. Water sources vanished. Animals that had shared territory for years turned desperate and dangerous. A large coalition of male lions, 4 of them, began pushing further east than they had ever ranged, starving, aggressive, and focused. They found Dileia in an open plain with nowhere to run. The research team's remote camera drone captured the moment in heartbreaking clarity. 4 lions fanning out around a lone impala doe. What the lions did not know was what was watching from the tall grass behind them. River came first, then his 3 siblings, 4 full-grown cheetahs, moving in silence, emerging from the grass like smoke. Cheetahs do not challenge lions. That is another law of the wild written in blood. But these did not read that law. They flanked, they circled, they screamed that impossible bird-like cheetah sound that cut through the dry air like a blade. The lions stopped, looked around, recalculated, and then they left. Dileia stood in the open plain, unharmed. River walked to her side and pressed his great spotted head against her neck. In 5 years of watching this savanna try to break her, it never did, because she had done something the wild never expected. She had chosen love over instinct, and the wild, in its strange and ancient way, had given it back. If this story moved you the way it moved us, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel, because out here, in the places where cameras rarely go, miracles are still happening, and we will never stop bringing them to you.